Thanks very, very much. Let's give it up for Deb Kilty and the outstanding job she does. Deb, I was speaking with our awardee tonight on the Governor's Award, and I was sharing with Kevin that I try to make a point to come here every year, even on the rescheduled years, because really each of you represent some of the best business ambassadors we have to a big, big market called the world. And I am always so impressed to hear about the companies that have been growing and doing and moving forward every day in every way and in so many different fields. This has to be one of the most dynamic and hopeful business gatherings that I am privileged to attend as your servant annually. And that's why, Deb, with your advocacy this year and because of the tough choices that all of us have made together as Marylanders to come through this recession, and because of my love for Harold Adams, and also because of Dominic Murray pushing me to do it, we're very glad that we're able to do more in our budget for your institute. Thank you. Keep doing what you're all doing.
Thank you very, very much. We are so appreciative. Thank you.
So look, Deb gave my speech. All the bragging rights about that you have as Marylanders. So let me condense and simply say that our world's changing, and it's changing rapidly. And that should not be something that intimidates us as Marylanders. That is something that should encourage us as Marylanders. Because you would be sore pressed to find a more resilient, entrepreneurial, or diverse state anywhere in the United States with the things we have going for us in terms of location and also proximity to not only American markets but also the international airports and really a mix of dynamic businesses. I mean, beyond all of the other number ones, number one public schools, number one in PhDs, and all the other number ones. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce last year named Maryland number one state in America, don't applaud for this, for innovation and entrepreneurship. And I told you not to applaud. And I'm sure that there were some among us, because let's be honest, as Marylanders, we do suffer from a pathological modesty. There were some of us who wonder, well, I wonder who made a mistake on those calculations. Certainly that can't be. But look around this room. You're the reason that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce named our state number one in innovation and entrepreneurship for the second year in a row this year. And you can applaud for that. Together, in the private sector, in the public sector, and with nonprofits as a people, we believe that if we make better choices, we can achieve better results. And that's what each of the honorees represents tonight. The spark that your businesses have given to our state and to our state's economy. Canham Steel, Chrysler, Johns Hopkins Medicine International, Earth Networks, and Rob, thank you so much for everything you do with the STEM network in your spare time. Miltech UV, Windback Farms, and Premier Rides, who traveled with us, Harold and Wallace, on that trade mission to China and to Korea, where we also saw in Korea the opening of a new Under Armour store, so which I'll get to in just a second. But Jim Shea, your company, Premier Rides, is kind of a good metaphor for what we've all been doing for these last several years, with the economy doing what it's doing, or what it has been doing, or what it hasn't been doing. I don't know about you, but when it comes to roller coasters, I don't mind the peaks and the valleys. It's when it goes around the sharp turns that I start getting a little queasy. And these last few years have certainly had their moments of queasiness. But we're coming through it, and one of the reasons is that we have become more engaged rather than less engaged, especially when it comes to global markets and to global trade, where we increase global trade. Helen Bentley, after whom our port is named, will be glad to confirm this, that we increased to a record-breaking year for exports last year of $11.8 billion out of the Port of Baltimore. Meanwhile, we set records for cargo in 5 categories: autos, machinery, containers, coal, overall general cargo. But all in all, I mean, we have a dynamic, innovative, and globally engaged economy. And we need to keep building on that strength. I just got back. We took a trade mission to the Middle East. We visited Israel, visited Jordan. Wallace and I are still on Jerusalem time, so please serve the Israeli breakfast, if you will, as soon as possible. And we did a lot of good things there. We've been building over these past 6 years, and Bob Walker, thank you for your good work. We've opened a number of new foreign trade offices, including most recently in Dubai, Nigeria, and Brazil. And last fiscal year alone, we were instrumental in recruiting at least 15 foreign companies to Maryland. We also, when we were in Israel, were able to announce 4 more. Shekel Scales, Eskimo, Robot Team, and Hybrid Security are all opening offices here. Many of them in one of the 28 incubators that have really become these breeding grounds for the startup companies coming into our state, and especially for those companies coming up from our state. Every year, or rather this year for the first time, and actually following Kevin Plank's leadership and his example, we had a Maryland Innovation Initiative. And we awarded 3 prizes, $100,000 each. One in life science biotech, one in IT, and the third in general business. And the people that crowded into that Brown Auditorium at the Maryland Institute College of Art should give all of you great hope about our economy's future. Some great young companies. Some of them only had 3 or 4 people. Their average age was probably 23. And I felt old, but I felt hopeful about the next generation. And there were 259 companies that applied. About a quarter of them were from out of state that were willing to move here. We started doing this in part because of the example and the leadership of our next awardee, who really represents and epitomizes a tremendous American success story, because he is in innovation and entrepreneurship, and having a great idea, and in making sure that he does the work to make it take root. And that is our awardee, Kevin Plank, who is the founder, of course, of Under Armour, with $500 from selling T-shirts and bracelets at rock concerts in his jeans. I don't know how they let you wear your jeans, Kevin. They developed prototypes of a T-shirt that would keep athletes cool and dry. Kevin looked at the fabric, the cotton and the T-shirts, and said, why do we have fabric like this when there's technology to do it another way? Why do you want to lug around all this wet and restrict your movement? So using his grandmother's townhouse basement as a base, he hit the road and ran to every equipment manager in the Atlantic Coast Conference to give out samples of his new product. And he made sure that he sold it and that it took root. It didn't take root by itself. It was his hard work and his hustle that made it possible. Under Armour's products are now sold in more than 25,000 stores worldwide in 60 companies. And in a great bit of news announced just last week, Under Armour will become the official gear provider for USA Gymnastics for the next 8 years. And finally, if you really want to see some great representations and manifestations of the hopeful, optimistic, engaged ethic that is Under Armour, in addition to driving through their campus in Locust Point, go take a ride by Dunbar's football field up on Monument Street. Take a look at the faces of some of the kids that are playing on professional turf fields with a great scoreboard, and know in their heart that they're important, that they can make it, and that people in our city and in our state care. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a great American, the award winner of this year's Governor's International Leadership Award, Kevin Plank.